No, good service. And that brings us straight to the river bus. On the river bus as well, once again, we've got a good service there as well. And then to the final segment of the travel updates, that's the National Rail. On the National Rail, Avanti West Coast has got minor delays. Southern, minor delays. Transport for Wales, minor delays. Cross Country, special service. And Grand Central, special service there as well. And that's how I would say it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads. Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and intact? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination intact. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy. Okay, welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK. Those of you on the YouTube, my apologies. We seem to be having lots of infiltration there, and that seems to be breaking the broadcast, and therefore restarting. Let me put it that way, restarting the broadcast. So just bear with us whilst we try to, set a new one for you. But it's working. It's working. The moment it flicks that way, then you need to come back to it. But as I did say earlier on, my Bishop Adesina came out with the first story, what is happening in Nigeria pertaining to Emefiele's case, where a court ruled that, well, Emefiele should be charged or they need to release him. However, the DSS says that, well, you know what, we've charged him already, and he says that when power hits power, small power actually bows down. So, well, the court said, but if you look at that, they've hearkened to what the courts are saying. So why didn't they hearken to the courts when the court said that release Nnamdi Kanu because he's not, you cannot actually charge him with anything, or virtually he's been cleared of all those charges, so he should be released. There's not enough evidence for whatever that had gone on, and they are still holding him. So what about that? Okay. Well, you want to know more, stay tuned, don't you go away. But some of the stories coming through says that that's which we're going to be looking at. Now, Tinubu, let me take it again. Insecurity, sit-at-home problem in Southeast Nigeria beyond what governors can tackle. Governor Uzudima is saying a EFCC arrests 13 Chinese nationals over alleged illegal mining activities in Kwara. Well, that's what they do all the time, though. Now, Senate President Akpabio orders past President Tinubu's palliative budget with over 200 billion naira, and then 12 million families to get $10 each monthly support for subsidy removal. Bola Tinubu is saying, I've been talking about means testing. Is it means tested? Is it going to do it for them? Well, if it's going to, why not? At least somebody will say that something has been done about it. But we're talking now about it. Do you think that goes far enough? And 500 billion palliative, Kano government falls mode of distribution. Okay, so we're talking about that mode in a moment. But food shortage, Tinubu declares state of emergency, plans 500,000 hectares farmland. And who is going to farm on it? And again, the insurgency, the headsmen menace, the Fulani headsmen menace that seems to be going on, that keeps them going on to people's farms and destroying them. Is it still going to be going on? That's a question on the minds of most people. But you want to know more? Stay tuned, don't you go away. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. MFL's case will test Tinubu's respect for law. That's what the lawyer is saying. So let's see what will go on there. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And does that not bring put Tinubu in bad light with the former President Buhari? Or people think that, well, he's doing the right thing, so let him crack on. Okay, when it comes to some other stories making the rounds on the African continent, Tunisia releases two leading opponents of Said. Authorities in Tunisia released two leading opponents of President Kais Saied after spending more than 5 months in prison. Is one of the stories making the rounds there. And Zimbabwe Mnangagwa urges nations targeted by Western sanctions to unite. Oh my goodness. Well. So it's not about time where we have the West actually, taking the sanctions off Zimbabwe. Is it because they dealt with the when the old man that is Mugabe was in, the way he dealt with the whites there, saying that, well, it's our land and we'll do whatever, and then they decide, you know what, we're going to place sanctions on you. Well, he's saying that, you know what, it is critically important that the victims of Western sanctions are talking to each other. The artists of these sanctions should sit up and say, all right then. And the Egypt president announces steps to end conflict in Sudan. Okay, that's a good one there. Let's see what happens there. It's all coming away from Starr Radio. Africa World Cup qualifiers 2026. Nigeria, South Africa to slug it out. And how do you think performance is going to be? Maybe Niger, the Greedy Girls will win for Tinubu. Well, he's in office now, so anything goes, right? Right. Okay. Now let's move on to some other stories making the rounds. Now Parliament set up 7-member committee to probe leaked IGP audio. It's one of the stories making the round. And leaked audio plotting Damparis removal poses danger for elections 2024. Kofi Boa is saying. And then that Dr. Ama Kofi Boa. Now government decision to delist 17 SOEs is long overdue. We'll be telling you more about that. High Court quashes Shraj report on former PPA boss AB Ajay. We'll be looking into those stories as well. So coming away from Starr Radio UK, Yusuf Kusi Boateng, Edu Jemfi by one person borders on criminality. That's what the court is saying. How can one person have two names? And that is a problem there. But the former president Mahama has paid tribute to the late Professor Amata Edu. The beautiful ones are not yet born. Okay, is she the one who wrote that? I think so. I've forgotten who, but I think that's it. All right then. So coming your way from Starr Radio UK. In other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world as well. Hollywood actors walk out over pay and AI worries. Now that is quite a worrying trend, because I'm asking myself the question. Now, AI is something that we cannot do anything about now. It seems to be coming whatever we do. But do you think that is going to extinct human beings, the human race? Are we going to be extinct because of AI? All right then. And then are we going to be just sitting at home and just chilling and the AI will be doing all the work? How do we make the money though? Yeah. Okay. Now I saw bodies dumped from lorry into mass grave. An eyewitness in Sudan tells reporters he saw bodies being dumped by a paramilitary group. And then Wagner no longer significant in Ukraine. US says the Pentagon comments come 3 weeks after the mercenaries failed mutiny in Russia. Yesterday the Russians were saying that they've taken, or Wagner has submitted all arms that were with them to them. Now historic Indian moon mission lifts off successfully with Chandrayaan 3. India aims to be the first to land near the moon's little explored south pole. Okay, so let's see what happens there. It is Starr Radio UK. your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Heatwave scorches millions across US Southwest as well. Are we going to be extinct pretty soon? Let's find a way. Okay. Yeah, in the UK as well. Gatwick to be hit by strikes over summer holidays. I need to bring details of that because a few people, those of you who have planned for a holiday, need to see that. Driving hundreds of miles for dentists unacceptable. And Pfizer Islam, the pain isn't over yet. An agreement over public sector pay doesn't mean the pressure is off altogether. But well, the Prime Minister yesterday said that we are not going to negotiate, and no amount of strikes will make us change our mind, offering few whatever percentage raise for various public sectors. Well, what do you think about that? Lots more going to be coming your way from there. It is Starr Radio UK. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only Archie. But now let's go enjoy some music, and we'll be with you. And this is from Shadrach Mensah. It says The Rising Army. Enjoy it, and I'll be with you.
This is the day of the Lord. Announce to the saints out there that God is alive. Arise and shine.
And let me say good morning to Stephen O2. He said, hello, Uncle. Good morning. Stephen, good morning to you. I hope you are doing very, very, very well. Nice to see or hear of you there as well, Stephen.
This is Starr Radio UK. 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 This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
This is Starr Radio UK.
You are listening to Starr Radio Morning Show. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people. Archie on Starr Radio. Nobody does it better.
Well, that's the Rising Army from Shadrach Mensah Koiki. So he says, arise, 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 arise. So wherever you are listening to us from this morning, it doesn't matter what circumstance you find yourself in, somewhere, somehow, you got to rise up. Because the good book says, arise and shine, for the light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. That is now gone 7 minutes past the top of the hour. And that means that I need to take you to our North London studios, where it's all going to be happening this morning once again. So stay tuned, don't you go away, even as I go. And welcome the one and only White Lion himself, my colleague and co-presenter, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. And let me say, Yummy! Good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, Mr. Archie, and a good morning to our listeners and viewers from around the globe. And welcome to the last day of the week, but not the last day, because tomorrow we still have a lot on the Starr Radio Network. On Sunday, we have all the programs lined up, from the morning power hour to all other programs. But for now, it is a beautiful weather. It is raining outside, and I believe that was the reason why my wife kept on insisting that remember to take the children's raincoat when you're going out. Maybe it's going to rain up till afternoon. But I say good morning once again to Frank and also the rest of the presenter, and also good morning, good afternoon to those that have connected with us on the sister broadcast close to me here. Good morning, Mr. Archie.
Good morning. We hope family and everyone is doing very well.
Well, like I always say, the Chinese or the Koreans say, when the business is doing very well, then the family are doing very well. The family are doing very well, just like you always ask.
Yes. We thank God for that. All right, then. Now, listen to Starr Radio UK, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, my colleague and co-presenter in our North London studios, where we're going to be bringing you everything that you got to know from Nigeria, with the updates from Nigeria. Now let's kick it off this way. Now yesterday we had the president trying to, help. Let me put it that way: help those who are being affected by the removal of the subsidy, the fuel subsidy. And we're asking ourselves, where is it going to be getting the money from? Now today, as of this morning, we know that they are saying that they're going to give everybody a tenner $10. If I say 10, now people will think that we're talking about the pounds. No, $10 monthly. Now the question is, how are they targeting? Especially when we know that when it comes to data, Nigeria, we've not actually got a proper data for you to be able, because here, when the children go to school, we can sit down and can tell you that from the data, they can tell you this one is not coming from a very strong home, and therefore they need help this way. There's a data that we can look at that. But when it comes to Nigeria, how is it going to be? $10. Where is the government going to get that money from? Are they actually going to be able to do that? Yummy.
For years, we've expected that, by now in 2023, Nigeria will have, a good record of every Nigerian, even up to the remote area, whether they now have, what the government will be able to pay, the substantial amount of 8,000 naira, which you've talked about. That's about $10 equivalent as well. Data capturing that I can say is that Nigeria do not have it. We have a lot of information that keeps on, submitted as Nigerians. I remember traveling to Nigeria in 2017, and I had to apply for my name because that needs to be linked with my account in Nigeria. Up to date, I don't have, the original card.
Wow.
What we were given was a small slip, and billions of naira have been invested into data capturing. Already there's been a lot of those that are against this, because this is exactly what the former president Muhammadu Buhari did, sharing money. And the question is, who will receive these? We know that Nigeria have about 130 millions of Nigerians, quote and unquote, living in abject poverty. They can't afford $1, not to talk about the $10. So the $10 is a lot of money for those that can't afford the dollar. But already, anti-corruption activists has warned Tinubu the proposed 500 billion palliatives, guess what, could be looted. That is from their own side. The governor of Kano State is already faulting the distribution. And the reason for that, again, the Kano State government has faulted the distribution of the federal government allocation of 500 billion naira through the Bank of Industry to support small-scale industries across the country. This is going to be a tough time. And to get the message clear, not the 130 million Nigerians will be receiving these $10. We are talking about just 12 million of them.
12 million of them. We're talking about 130 million Nigerians who are in abject poverty, and we're talking about only giving only 12 million. I mean, it's worrying. It's worrying because we're talking about means testing, how people can do that. So I was looking at it from this point because everybody uses commercial transport. I mean, those who can afford, they use commercial transport. So why is the government not going that way where, I mean, at the end of the month, if people are supposed to, and then you did explain the other time that people are not paying taxes. So at the end of the month, if you submit your bills or anything that should be calculated to see how much you've made or the profit that you've made, then it should be captured there that, look, out of that, we bought fuel of so much. Then government could recompense whatever or pay back whatever money or whatever transaction that has gone on. So it comes to you, but at least we know that government is controlling the transport fares for people, and everybody will be benefiting from that. So I'm not going to get it. I'm not getting it at all, Yomi.
Well, I was asking those in Ekiti State that we have 3 million population. You know, what is going to be their own part of these 500 billion? Somebody said maybe about 24 billion. The question is, with a 16 local government, 3-point-something million population in a particular state, how many people would even be giving that $10? And how do we know that this money will eventually get to them? Because I'll give you an example. The naira is just bouncing, you know, like a bouncing baby boy, because as of this morning, it is now 1,045 naira. So it is becoming worse every day. But I remember 3 weeks ago precisely, we had a correspondent in Ekiti State that told us that a woman was disgraced in the market because she actually borrowed 900 naira. This is 100 naira less from this 1,000 naira from someone that came to the market and accused her of this money. We eventually have to send this money to that woman. I mean, extra money included, by my mom, just to support her. These are, she's a seller, she's a trader, but every penny that she had on this goods that she's selling, guess what, is not even up to 500 naira.
Wow.
Not that Nigerians are not ready to work, but again, Bola Tinubu, the president, have declared state of emergency in the food sector, which is a good, welcoming development, because the reason why these traders are finding it difficult to bring goods out of the farm is because the farm has become a no-go area. And the reason for that, again, is because of the insecurity in the country. But it seems that the security agency are focusing their energy in the southeast, whereas in Plateau State, 18,000 Nigerians have now left their vicinity because of the insecurity. Over 384 people have died in the last 3 months in Plateau State. In Sokoto, the terrorists are now asking people to pay taxes. If otherwise, they will not be able to live in those areas.
Wow. Listen to Starr Radio UK. Stories that come from that part of the world baffles me. But let's come to the president. And first of all, Senate approving the service chiefs. Okay, so they are expected to be up and running, seeing to the security. So the president might say that, look, I'm not putting the cart before the horse. I've put the horse before the cart, so he should be able to pull it. But we've not had strategies by these security chiefs to help combat what that menace that is going on. Because now that the president is saying, look, I'm going to do how many hectares of land for farming. Who is going to go there to go and farm? Is it the military who are going to now go into farming to farm for the citizens or the people in the country? Or are we going to have a military cordon of the whole place, the farm, so that we'll not have the Fulani headmen coming in and people going in there to destroy the farm land? Yomi.
Let me take you back to a call I had a week and a half precisely. He's a big farmer in Kaduna State. He's going to be relocating to UK anytime soon because he has lost everything. 3 years was the last time he visited his farm. 34 of his workers were kidnapped. One was killed. Millions of naira were paid for him to return those farmers back. Not only that, thousands of tons of grains was burnt by these Fulani terrorists. He cannot even drive his own vehicle. That literally means that he has to disguise by going on the public sector because of not being attacked. These are farmers that have invested heavily. How the security were not able to provide the security for him? I did ask him, and his answer was, these same security are compromised because they are the ones that are providing the security that they should be providing for Nigerians. And that takes me back to what we were told by T.Y. Danjuma. Maybe we should just listen to that again. This was about 5 years ago.
It's a mini state. It's a mini Nigeria composed of various ethnic groups living together reasonably peacefully. But the peace in this state is under assault. There's an attempt at ethnic cleansing in this state and of course in all the riverine states of Nigeria. We must resist it. We must stop it. Every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits that kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate
was 5 years ago. We now have the same faces because the new military chiefs or service chiefs, as they're known, that have now been given the all clear by the Senate, the North, vow to tackle the insecurity. Some of them were below the ones that Tinubu has removed. Whether they will have a different tactics to deal with the insecurity is the question that a lot of Nigerians are waiting for. Mostly in the food sector, that Bola Tinubu has now declared a state of emergency in the agricultural sector. Mm-hmm. The confirmation was square to the consideration and approval of a motion brought by the Senate Majority Leader Olayomi Bamidele of the APC Ekiti. The service chiefs are Major General Tarid Lagbaja, the Chief of Army Staff, the Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, the Chief of Naval Staff, where we know that there's not just about the issue on the land, even the waterways. As an example, in Ondo State, Ilaje, for the last 12 years, crude oil have been stolen. We hope that that will be stopped, because that also is part of money that should have been used to support Nigerians. But the real question mark is, how do we resolve this problem? According to the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Tarid Lagbaja has now also directed troops of the Nigerian Army to assert control over the regions where Simon Ekpa, the leader of the Prime Minister, government in exile of the Biafra, and also impose the sit-at-home. So you can see that they are dealing with too many insecurity, because as far as the Chief of Army Staff says, that it is not just in the southeast, but there is a lot of insecurity around the country, and there's a lot of work to do. But as usual, Simon Ekpa has responded. Tell the Islamic State Chief of Army Staff that his planned invasion will be met with the highest resistance so far. We call on all the Biafrans to take note to the threat and remain indoor during the sit-at-home, and also be vigilant. So you can see that Nigeria is going through a very, very rough, difficult time when it comes to those agitating, the terrorists, the Boko Haram, the bandit, and the normal criminality that is happening within Nigeria. As we said yesterday, somebody actually killed someone by removing the head for less than 50 pounds.
Well, listen, as a Starr Radio UK, worrying times. We know that the president, yes, and his cabinet, which I don't know is whether he's got everybody yet, are going through turbulent time as the country itself goes through that turbulent time. But we'll see what happens there. But it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Mr. Olayomi, Koiki on North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios. Now, do you think that the service chiefs have got what it takes to actually forestall peace in Nigeria, or are we going to be same old, just another day? What do you think? What do you think they can bring on board? And do you think that people will love to go to their farms, especially when it's talking about somebody who says that, look, my farmers, my workers were kidnapped and I had to pay so much, and now even I can't even drive my own vehicle. I need to hop on public transport because of the fears that he might be kidnapped by somebody. Well, listeners, is it a place to live? And is it a country that is everything seems to be going on very well? It's all coming from Starr Radio UK. Now, earlier on this morning, we had Bishop Adesina, who posted before you did, talking about the actions that what the response from the DSS pertaining to Emefiele's case, and they're saying that, well, Emefiele has been charged and they are going to bring him to court. But it's been said here that, well, Emefiele's case is going to test Tinubu's respect for law. Why are they saying so, Yomi?
Well, Emefiele is not just an ordinary individual, and what do I mean by that? You know, is a former CBN, and that means all eyes will be on his case, as we know that he handled the affairs of how the naira, the change of naira. The court has directed the DSS to charge Emefiele within 1 week or release him, but we can confirm now also that it seems that things are moving very, very fast, you know, when it comes to the case between the federal government and Emefiele. The Nigerian Secret Police, the DSS, have finally filed charges against the suspended central bank former Central Bank Governor Emefiele, in line with the court ruling. We hope that in line with the court ruling means also that, he will be given fair hearing. Because the reason why Nigerians are not getting fair hearing is that, even if the court direct the DSS to give him a bail, the DSS end up not refusing the court. And that is something that the former President Muhammadu Buhari refused to adhere to with the Attorney General of the Federation, Malami, because they were not listening to the court order. Even if Emefiele is going to be found guilty, that is not for the DSS to decide. That is for the argument between the DSS lawyers or legal team with the Emefiele legal team as well. This is now coming after the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory sitting in Abuja yesterday ordered that either you release him or charge him. And now that the court have made that order, he has been charged. That then means that a case has to be continued. And whether the DSS will abide by the rules of the court, that is why Nigerians would like to know whether Tinubu is someone that will follow the rule of law. Remember that Showore was kept in Abuja even though he was asked to be released. But again, the former President Buhari refused to do so. Justice Mazo gave the order in his ruling in a fundamental human rights suit filed by Emefiele to challenge his arrest and detention by the secret police.
Do you think Emefiele is going to be having a nice or a fair trial? That is the question on the lips of most people. We'll be coming to what people are expecting from that, whether the DSS is going to adhere to it. But the question is, now, if Emefiele was that bad, let me put it that way for loss of words, okay? If Emefiele was that bad, why did Buhari still keep him there? Yomi.
Some believe that Emefiele was working. He wanted to be the president. We saw the his own posters and billboards and vehicles, but it seems that Nigerians were really like, this can happen. You are still, is either you come out of the CBN and do that, but you can't still remain as the CBN. He wanted to have a study leave, but Buhari guaranteed that nothing is going to happen. Maybe he would have run away in December when everybody was asking, where is Emefiele? We were told that he has never had holiday before. But all of a sudden, he decided to go on holiday in December when the pressure was boiling very hot. But the question is whether Emefiele was working, in line with derailing the upcoming election, or was going against the act put together by the CBN for some of what he has done, especially the change of money that led to the death of so many Nigerians. Because we got to be honest, we don't even know how many people died during the period of that change of money. But we saw elderly women, we saw people going naked in the banking hall, we saw people saying, I have money in my account, but for whatever reason the bank refused to give me the money. All this was what Emefiele was in charge. How the DSS would now be able to prove that Emefiele was working against Nigerians, not literally working against Tinubu to become the president, even though at some point Bola Tinubu say, if you like, change the money from red to pink, we will win this election. And he has eventually won the election, even though the election tribunal will determine whether he remains the president or not.
Well, it's interesting. But do you know the charges that have been preferred against Emefiele at all? Do you have a list of it? What are the charges?
Well, however, in a statement that was released yesterday, the DSS has charged Emefiele to court. The secret police say they had filed charges against Emefiele in line with the court ruling. Peter Afunaya, the same person that spoke during the invasion and assassination attempt on the life of Chief Dr. Sunday Igboho, said that the squall to the Abuja High Court today, which was yesterday the 13th, the Department of the DSS have now gone in accordance in the court compliance. The public may recall that the service had in 2022 applied for a court order to detain him in respect of what you are asking me today, criminal investigation, though he was able to obtain a restraint order from the FCTI court, the services. However, the arrest made in June last month on the strength of suspicion suspected fresh criminal infraction information, one which forms the basis of his current prosecution. The services assure the public of professionalism, justice, and fairness. I don't agree with that, but we just have to accept what they're saying, because Nnamdi Kanu is now 2 years in the custody. The court has thrown out all the charges against him, but the DSS refused to obey the court order. We are now waiting for the court appearance that is going to happen through the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. But Emefiele was suspended square to the ongoing investigation. The former Apex Bank was arrested on the 10th of June, over a week after President Tinubu was sworn in. So the reason why he's been arrested has got to do with issues to allegations of so many information that the DSS believe that he should have been arrested, but he used the influence of the presidency not to do so. And they say when the new sheriff in town, the game must definitely change.
Well, listeners, it's Starr Radio UK. What is happening in Nigeria? 11:31 now. Let's move on to some other stories. Now, let's quickly look at. My apologies, please. Is it Southeast governors who are on their way to go see the president pertaining to the insecurity? Well, we have Samuel Ekpa saying that Simon Ekpa saying that make sure you stay at home. Now, whatever is going on in that particular part of the country is quite robust. That they cannot. The governors are saying that they don't have control over it, so they cannot do anything, and anything that they need help from. But do you think that going to see the president is going to make the president say, you know what, Buhari promised that he couldn't do anything, but the charge, the case has to go to the courts that with Nnamdi Kanu, and then after the court ruling, then he will make. If they even find him guilty, then he can say that, look, giving him a presidential pardon, and therefore we can release him or something of the sort. But he wasn't found guilty. The case was thrown out, and they decided to hold him. Do you think that by these governors going to see the president, maybe he'll have a real look at it and think that, look, the best way forward is to release Nnamdi Kanu? Yummy.
I did listen to Simon Ekpa yesterday on his State of Nation address, and he said to all the Biafrans that 3 of the governors that also traveled to Abuja called him, and the call was to say that they have not traveled to get Nnamdi Kanu to be released, but they've gone for something different. And that you can only take from what he's saying, even though what the governors are saying, it might be a little bit different. But what we know that the situation with Nnamdi Kanu is that Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped by the federal government of the former President Muhammadu Buhari and Yemi Osinbajo, that we thought that as a legal expert, it would not have allowed such to happen. But as we say, it does not make any difference whether you have this kind of knowledge, because Nnamdi Kanu case is a test of time for the federal government. You wanted to apprehend him for terrorism or treason charges. You kidnap him, you rendition him. That is against the international law. But what the Biafra are saying is that release him back and obey the court. You wanted him, you've had him in your custody, but you are still not obeying the court order. And this is bringing a lot of pressure. I listened to one of the senators in Anambra, Ifeanyi Ubah. Ifeanyi Ubah wanted to also bring out his own small little security vigilante, but he has a little bit toned down, and now asking whether they can have a kind of conversation between the Finland government and Nigeria to be able to look into the directive that Simon Ekpa is giving from Finland, because it seems that the directives have been listened to by so many people on the ground. Nigeria government is losing billions of naira every week in, week out, because the sit-at home is going Monday every week, but the one that went past was a week, and the one coming now is going to last 2 weeks, and that literally means that there will be more pressure on the ground. Whether the state governors will be able to plead with Tinubu, for a little bit of soft landing, but it seems again that maybe true or false, some of them are not really intended to get Nnamdi Kanu out of the custody, But we know also that Nnamdi Kanu's legal team continue to say to Tinubu, do not take this personal, like President Muhammadu Buhari took the issue of Nnamdi Kanu very, very personal.
Well, that's what happened. We saw that he took it very personal. That's why when he posted a comment on Twitter, Twitter decided to delete it and it made him go cuckoos. But let's see, maybe Tinubu will have a real look at the whole thing that is going on, but it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Some information that has just come through. The Ekiti State Chief Judge, Justice Oyewole Adeyeye, has survived death from sections of the State High Court complex that collapsed. Adeyeye, who was severely injured, was reported to have been moved to an undisclosed hospital for medical attention. It was learned that no life was lost in the incident, but workers on the premises were the ones that rescued the chief judge from the rubble. I don't know whether Yomi has got some more on that story, but that's some of the news that is making the rounds from Nigeria. It is already
quite right. You know, these are Justice Oyewole escaped death, but as we always say, there's a lot of buildings in Nigeria, just as we have buildings there in UK. The parliament is very, very old. You know, there's a lot of repair and renovation going on, but the question about Nigeria infrastructure system has always been that money that is meant to fix and repair them gets stolen again, and it's just, you know, cycle and cycle. And like you said, yes, he escaped the death, but those that have died in the same situation is due to the negligence of so many of the buildings that should not even be standing in the first place.
Okay, listen to Starr Radio UK. It's gone 11:36, and we'll go back to Yomi for the rest of the stories making the rounds. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, it seems that Okorocha, remember Okorocha, one of the former governor of Imo State that also created, I can't remember the commissioner that he created.
Happiness.
Commissioner for Happiness. It seems that the EFCC case against him, the court has now dismissed EFCC case against Okorocha. Is the headline. The High Court, Federal Capital Territory. The FCT is taking a lot of cases, every blessed day, but sometimes some goes in accordance and sometimes some are dragged, like the cases between Nnamdi Kanu and the federal government. The High Court of the Federal Capital Territory has now dismissed the case against the former governor of Imo State, Rocha Okorocha, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Delivering the judgment, Justice Yusuf Halilu described the EFCC charges of fraud and abuse of office against Okorocha as an abuse of judicial process on the grounds that the anti-graft agency had filed a similar charge against the defendant at the Federal High Court. So it seems that if Okorocha for now is still a free person. Sokoto government set up investigation to investigate Tambuwa administration. Just as we say, when there's a new sheriff in town, they're trying to run after the old sheriff. The governor of Sokoto State, Ahmed Aliyu, yesterday has now inaugurated a judicial commission of inquiry to investigate some of the actions taken by the immediate past administration of Aminu Waziri Tambuwa while in office. The panel, which is going to be chaired by former Chief Judge of Gombe State, Justice Muzu Abubakar Abdul Kabdil, is expected to submit its finding within the 2 months. So we hope that those findings will eventually bring something to either nail him or find him not guilty, and maybe they should have put more pressure doing some other things. But as usual, we can't say that when a new government comes in or a new governor, they should not do what they are meant to do, to at least find money stolen or taken away inappropriate, as we saw that Benue yesterday when 30 vehicles was taken away by the former governor, Oton, and he said, these are my own cup of cake from Nigeria. Why disturb me? Why not take care of yours by the time you are leaving? EU report, opposition is now demanding INEC chairman prosecution as the APC fumes. Remember that the European Union gave us their outcome of the final conclusion on the election 2023. There is still a court case that is going on. We are waiting for the outcome finally. But opposition parties yesterday have now demanded the resignation of the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, on the basis of the European Union Election Observer Mission report, which gave INEC a low mark in its conduct of the general election. The Labour Party, the People's Democratic Party said the EU report on the election confirmed their position that the 2023 polls were not transparent or credible, but the INEC and the APC dismissed the Yakubu indictment by the party. The electoral agency had declared APC standard bearer Bola Tinubu the winner of the presidential election. The verdict was challenged by the Labour Party, the PDP, and some other opposition. Let's remind you of the total score of that election. Tinubu was able to pull 8.7 million to defeat the PDP bearer Atiku Abubakar with 6.9 million, while the counterpart Peter Obi had 6.1 million. Some say that maybe Atiku and Peter Obi should have joined force, and that would have forced Tinubu out of office, because that's about 12 million votes between the two of them. But as the Obedience always say, we are different from PDP, even though we know that Peter Obi was part of PDP up to 2019. But it seems that that is still ongoing. Also, the police have charged the PDP candidate Ladi Adebutu and his associate for spending 2 billion naira for vote buying in Ogun State. You wonder why? When politician gets there, they have to recruit the 2 billion before any other work is done ahead. 41 minutes past. Let's take you through to what is trending on social media. And as usual, Simon Ekpa is still the biggest trending in Nigeria today with about 45,000. It's trending more than the president, and I can tell you for other reasons, as some believe is the good guy, while something is just a disturbance from outside Nigeria. Even we had some Yorubas and Igbos that went to the Finnish embassy to say that Simon Ekpa is disturbing the peace of the land while he's enjoying in Finland. And I listened again to Simon yesterday. Simon said, if you want peace, allow a full referendum and decide whether we want to remain as an entity of Nigeria or not. So let's take a look at why he's trending again this morning. According to him, he's responding back to the Senate President Akpabio and other part President Tinubu palliative budget. Simon Ekpa responded, criminals, when they hear Biafra, they start running mad. That is from him there. There's a lot of different messages. This one is coming from at Eze Patrick tweet 1. Breaking the Gra Dr. Ifanyuba, who set up some Boy Scout to stop sit-at-home, has bowed down, planning to meet President with his call to plead for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu release. Also engage Simon Ekpa diplomatically. The man is even physically going down and is now very tired. So it seems that they say the last man standing is the situation of things when it comes to Simon Ekpa and the Nigerian federal government. IPOB is trending with about 57,000 as well. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is trending at about 10,000. Now let's look at Nigeria as a whole, and let's talk about what Nigerians are saying when it comes to Nigeria on the social media this morning. And then we go straight from Neferati. Neferati is one of the supporters of the Peter Obi. They came to steal, to kill, and to destroy the economy, the democracy, and the unity in Nigeria. They're all political criminals. Han Angu is a media platform. In recent times, some of the deadliest terror attacks in Nigeria have been done against schools in the northeast to the north central region. From 2009 till date, there has been tens of schools attacked in Nigeria, leading to adoption and up in education and disruption of lives as property as well. But also, Chidi Odukalu Chidi Odukalu, as we know, is one of those that fight the injustice in Nigeria. And this morning, It says, hashtag go to court can also be hubris of judicial capture and corruption. Hashtag Nigerian judicial appears deep in their throes of being reshaped as an estate defined by the filler and genital. Also, as we come back to those that are agitating, Omeyo continued to take the Yoruba Nation campaign to the crooks and crimes of Yoruba land. As yesterday it was out again in some of the remote area, working tirelessly, giving the information for those that are not yet aware of what is called the Yoruba Nation and why we need to exit Nigeria peacefully. So yesterday, Omeyo was out there at what we call the grassroots awareness campaign continue for the Yoruba Nation not going back somewhere in Abeokuta, Ogun State. And as we say, more engagement continue online and offline as those campaigner for Yoruba Nation says that diplomatically, negotiation, and also peaceful protest will be part of the engagement with the new government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And as we wait for his response to whether they will lift the embargo on Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho as against those that are asking for him to apologize for a crime he has not committed. Because whenever you apologize for something, that means you are admitting to the crime. Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho's home was attacked and almost killed by the former president Muhammadu Buhari. He was able to escape, and likewise we know that so many correspondence between the leader of the Yoruba self-determination struggle, Professor Banji Akintoye, to President Muhammadu Buhari did not yield any fruit. And we are now hoping that there will be a kind of fruit between the new President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Professor Adebanji Akintoye in the way forward to how the Yorubas will determine whether to be part of Nigeria or not, as the right to self-determination is not a crime under the international law and under the United Nations and the African Union. This is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. It is the weekend, and I'll come back now to you in the studio, Mr. Archie. And let's remind ourselves that there are so many Biafrans still in the prison, kept against the will. That reason is because some of them are putting on this outfit that the former President Muhammadu Buhari was really taking it very personal. We hope Tinubu will not take it personal and allow Biafra to put on their regular outfit wherever they want in Nigeria, because this outfit is not a crime and these are not military outfit that is not permitted in Nigeria.
Well, if somebody is putting on their own regalia, what's wrong with it? Because there's a situation where they're talking about the fact that Nnamdi Kanu wants to put on his Igbo apparel, and they said they are not allowing, the DSS will not allow him to wear that in prison. They're not allowing him. I don't know whether they're giving him a prison uniform to wear, but it is already okay. Now, interestingly, was it sometime this week or last week, we had the president of Benin visiting President Tinubu. Did you capture what was discussed?
Well, we know that Tinubu met with him as well, during the France Global Summit. There was picture, but we didn't know what was the conversation. And Friday, 2 weeks ago, you're right, Tinubu had, the President Patrick Talon in Abuja, just as some of the African presidents have been visiting. It was a closed-door conversation. There was not any press briefing after that. But we do not have any intel or information of what was discussed. But we know that, as we always say, Benin Republic is just part of Nigeria. But during the colonial and the struggle to take Africa, Benin was carved out from Nigeria by the France and those that wanted to take it into their control. But as many Yoruba believe that Benin Republic is still a Yoruba part, and that is the reason why Patrick Talon looked away, even in the mighty of Buhari that wanted to take back Igboho. I remember Buratai visited Igboho, offered him millions of dollars to abandon the movement of Yoruba Nation. Igboho refused told him that he's not fighting because of the money, he's fighting because the wish of our people is to be free from the subjugation, marginalization. But some might now say that now that we have a Yoruba president, are we still going to be marginalized? Are we still going to be, subjugated? But the question then is, after the Yoruba has completed his tenure, the power returned back to the north, and that is where the argument is. Tinubu is not going to be there as a king. He's only there to manage the affairs of Nigeria. So we hope that whatever the outcome of the meeting between Talon is going to be a fruitful one in the long run for Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho, that a fruitful one in the long run for Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho, that is in Benin Republic, that has been given what we called humanitarian protection for his life while he was running away, like Tinubu did in the 90s. He ran away from Abacha because Abacha wanted to assassinate him. Tinubu spent a lot of time in London. Even at that time, he said, I do not believe in Nigeria. But now that I picked up another article that Tinubu gave in 2017, and that article stated clearly, let's see if we can get that out. This was in 2017, September 24. Tinubu said, Biafra, don't condemn IPOB, Tinubu tells Nigerians. And today, he's now in the affairs of Nigeria. We hope he's not going to condemn the Biafra just as he said so in 2017. We know that things have changed, but always politicians must stick to their words.
Well, it's just 6 years ago that he made that statement. So let's see what happens. Do you think that there's a chance, a slim glimmer of hope, that there's going to be maybe a referendum? He says, well, okay, this is what you guys are saying. Let's try it. Let's see whether those in the southeast and the southwest want out. Do you think Tinubu will do that?
Well, Tinubu is still observing. Like I was saying this morning, is a new. He's not new in the game. He was a governor for 8 years, but he's the only president that we have that is kind of a little bit different from the ones that we have had before. We know that Jonathan was at the time a deputy governor as well, until he was brought in to become, the vice of Umaru Musa Yar'Adua that died, and gave Jonathan that privilege. Jonathan is also well read, but what happened is now that we now have a new person in place of Tinubu, and we hope that within months and months he will be able to review and look into the constitution that doesn't have the real clause of the referendum, and probably put that in front of the politicians, whether the North will accept that, whether the Southeast politician will accept that, whether the Southwest politician, because it's all about the politicians. If your politicians are accepting that, it makes it very easy. So even if he's proposing it, they might even just abandon it while the proposal will come. But everybody believes that there is just that little bit of tiny salt, even though some might not believe it.
But do you think that so far, I know I'm digressing a bit, but so far with the representatives in Parliament, the House of Representatives, do you think when it comes to the Southeast, do you think they are in favor at the Southwest, and the Southeast as well? Do you think they are in favor of what is going on? Are they in favor of what Chief Sunday Igboho was saying, that look, our people are being marginalized, they are being killed, their farms are being ransacked, and therefore we need to stand up for them? Are they in favor of it, or maybe they are not at all, or maybe the method that maybe Sunday Igboho is using is what they don't want? How do you see it?
You're quite right. I think looking at these campaign trail that has happened between the Yorubas and the Biafra, the representatives that are speaking to us behind the curtains, some of them might not like the approach, not the approach of what we are doing, but they are scared of the approach because it's not normal for you to go out and you have millions of people following you like Igboho was doing. And that was a concern to the Yoruba politicians. I've heard the politicians, Ifeanyi Uba stated it clearly that if we do not believe Nnamdi Kanu has control of the Southeast, and that literally means that even though he's been kept in the custody, there is still people outside, and outside the country that are ready to do whatever command it gives. But how do we manage this crisis? When you look at the Scottish have now had a party, the Alba Party, that is pushing towards the referendum, even though they've been given one in 2014. Nigerians will say that should we not have a referendum, we can remain one. But those that are saying that we can't remain one if we do not come on the round table. The round table discussion must happen so that we can move this situation further so that it doesn't end up to be the Sudan that we are looking up to right now.
We're going to be going just one more because the conversation is interesting and people are listening and some are asking me some questions. Now, do you think that if the let's say Yoruba Nation has a political party, they form a political party, and we have the IPOP also form a political party who are all now represented there, do you think it will make a difference?
Well, I was reading through Bashegun. Bashegun is the leader of the UK Ilana, and he actually pointed to what you discussed right now, especially for those of us that wants to campaign from the UK. And what he actually said is that review by a selected committee of the House of Commons require a referral by the Prime Minister. We have no political influence. A Yoruba party in UK is one means of getting that influence. The Yoruba diaspora is large enough to sustain a party. We could generate enough noise by taking part in the upcoming by-election. That is another area that he thinks that we can make our case heard in UK. In terms of Nigeria, you can't stand as an independent political party. So that literally means that you have to speak to some of your representatives, and some of them, especially in the Southwest, refuse to come on board because of Bola Ahmed Tinubu's ambition to become the president. Now that he's the president, maybe they would now start looking into the future that we should remain in Nigeria or not. But one thing is, you can't stop those that are asking for the right to self-determination, since it is part of the right under the United Nations and the African Union. But as we say, time will tell, because those asking for this right did not start 3 years ago. That right has been part of the independence that we got, but that independence was destroyed during the regional government that led to the military controlling Nigeria for a very long time. We are now on the second decade of the non-interference of democracy in Nigeria, but yet democracy is not getting to the people as quickly enough as possible.
Well, they tell us that our democracy is young. That's why we are not seeing what we are seeing. So we should give it a bit of time. Do you think that would do? And when democracy, that's the rule of law, and people are not respecting the law, and they say that, yeah, we have to just take it like that way. How do we do it? Bishop Adesina, once again, good morning to you. Say kudos Starr Radio UK. Kudos to you as well. Thank you very much for the posts that you did put on earlier on. Yomi, is there any special activities for Elamo Odua and then the IPOP or whatever? Do you have any activities planned for the weekend? Is there anything of the sort?
Well, it's more of the the culture and the festival today. There's an event happening in Ibadan. It's got to do with the Yoruba culture, and likewise, that is going for 2 days, where there will be culture of Ifa and all that. So that is already going to be happening within the next few hours. That is also part of a campaign trail. Just as we talked about, Omeyo was out yesterday. So majority of the presenter of both the Biafra and the Yorubas have continuously educate many Nigerians that needs to know why we need to break apart. While some Nigerians think it is all about the leadership, but like I said, the campaign trail, it's all going to happen, as we say, never say never, because even the Scottish have never given up for their right to self-determination.
Well, listeners, it's been a lengthy one, but I hope that you enjoyed it. Yomi, let me say thank you very much before you go.
Thank you so much, Mr. Archie, and catch up again on Monday morning when we continue with the updates.
Well, listeners, let's say thank you very much to Mr. Olayomi Koiki for that wonderful updates from Nigeria. We took a bit of his time, but I know that you were enjoying it, and therefore we needed to go on. But the president said, you know what? I'm going to give $10 to everyone. I'm about 12 million people. Now we're talking about a country where 120 million of them are supposed to, are said to be highly impoverished. So 12 million, then that might be highly impoverished. But when the money get to them, Zongoman says, where is the dollar? If 10 men are sharing $10 and one man no get some, what is going to happen there? Some are warning that don't go on that path because people are ready open their mouth to squander whatever amount that you are going to try to share with these people. But whatever it is, start ready. You can join the song and we'll be with you. Stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
To give to monkey. Hey, hey, hey. Give gorilla bananas. To give to monkey. You guys know. You know go see banana. Banana, you know go see banana. Monkey no go see banana. Banana, you know go see banana. Where is the dollar? 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 You know go see banana. Banana, you know go see banana.
Looking for a new way to stay refreshed and hydrated? Look no further than iRange Hydration Drink. iRange is perfect for any situation where you need a little pick-me-up. It's low in calories and has a delicious orange flavor that you will love. So don't wait any longer. Grab a can of iRange today and start enjoying the refreshing. Buy online at irange.co.uk. Looking for a new way to stay refreshed and hydrated? Look no further than iRange Hydration Drink. iRange is perfect for any situation where you need a little pick-me-up. It's low in calories and has a delicious orange flavor that you will love. So don't wait any longer. Grab a can of iRange today and start enjoying the refreshing. Buy online at irange.co.uk.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program Star Radio UK. 7 minutes past the top of the hour, the time, the morning show, the program. That's 7 minutes past 12 here in the UK. Now, if you want to join in the conversation, maybe by calling in, it is 02081 332257 or 580281 332257 or 58. Happen to be in the US, Canada, the Caribbean area, it is 0017183032737 0017183032737. To text or WhatsApp is 0753966174. Maybe you want to WhatsApp call us. Yes, I can pick that one as well. So feel free to do so. Now, Twitter handle is Star Radio. You can email address is info@starradiouk.com. Now let's move on to some other stories making the rounds. We are already pressed with time because some of the conversation that we're having from Nigeria was one that needed to be addressed, and therefore we did it, and my apologies that it took a bit of time there. But when it comes to some of the stories making the rounds on the African continent, now 9 dead and more than 300 arrested after Kenyan protests. Once again, 9 people were killed and more than 300 arrested during protests on Wednesday against new taxes in Kenya banned by authorities. We did talk about that yesterday. So what do you think? Well, okay. And some other stories making the rounds. 2 leading opponents of Tunisian President Kais Saied were released on Thursday after spending more than 5 months in jail. Chairman Isa, a member of the main opposition coalition, the National Salvation Front, was arrested in February along with former Minister Lazar Akremi. Now, the first thing I like to say is that I can't deny my happiness at being free, but it's an incomplete happiness. It is a happiness with a lot of pain because the injustice I suffered is still being suffered by my friends who are still in the Monagua prison. So I can't be happy while they are still in prison without discriminating or excluding all political prisoners. Tunisia need to know that putting them, that is opponents, in prison will not solve their problem, said liberated political opponent Kaima Isa. Both detainees were among some 20 opposition, media and business figures arrested in February on charges of conspiracy against state security. Now, earlier on Thursday, around 100 protesters had railed or rallied in Tunisia's capital to demand freedom for the 20 detained critics of Said, who has ruled largely by decree for the past 2 years. Now, is it going to take the hint and do something different about it? Or what's going to happen about that? Well. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, one other story, and then we'll move on straight from there. Well, yesterday, during the Prime Minister's speech, he did say that British government is to increase fees for migrant visa application and National Health Service to support public sector pay rises. Now, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has revealed that the government's plan to raise fees for migrant visa application and the immigration health surcharge. The increased charges aim to generate substantial funds for financing pay rise in the public sector. During a press conference in London, Prime Minister Sunak stated that the first is we're going to increase the charges that we have for migrants who are coming to the country when they apply for visas. According to local news reports, the Prime Minister further mentioned the immigration health surcharge which migrants pay to access the National Health Service. The adjustment to these fees are expected to generate over £1 billion in revenue. In conjunction with this measure, Prime Minister Sunak called upon unions to suspend ongoing and planned industrial actions, asserting that he had reached a fair deal for workers. But we'll bring you more details about that in a moment. Well, the people are desperate, they are fleeing, but I know that they are not talking about those ones, but they're talking about those who are applying for visas to come in. So now you apply for that, you have to pay huge sums of money. Can you just imagine that song that one of the great singers in Ghana, what do you call him, sang? He said Abanso. I mean, well, I've forgotten his name. Reggie Rockstone, yes, sang there. But we'll tell you more about that during the course of the days and weeks ahead. The Parliament set up 7-member committee to probe leaked audio, IGP audio tape. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagman, has directed the establishment of a 7-member special committee to investigate the leaked audio plotting the removal of the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu Dampare. The Deputy Minority Leader, Ama Kofi Boa, presenting the request in Parliament, said, Mr. Speaker, that I submit this statement for your kind attention, seeking to invoke the appropriate standing orders of the House and other relevant legislation for bipartisan investigation, either by a special committee of the House or the Committee on Defense and Interior, into this all-important matter. The terms of reference of this investigation will be established, will be to establish the following: the authenticity of the leaked audio recording; 2, investigate the conspiracy to remove the current Inspector General of Police; 3, investigate any other matters contained in the audio recording; 4, recommend sanctions to persons found culpable where appropriate; and 5, make recommendations for reforms where necessary; 6, make such other recommendations and consequential orders as the committee may deem appropriate. Right, Honorable Speaker, I hereby submit for your kind consideration. Lawmaker concluded. In response, the Speaker asked if there were any comments from members of the House since they had responded. I don't know if you still have further comments. If not, I concede and direct a special committee be established to investigate this matter. Mr. Dagwin said the committee must go beyond defense and interior. We need some of you. We know some of you are good in IT and other areas to submit your talents and skills to the committee for this work to be done, he added. Do you think we're going to see anything coming out from there? I don't know, going to say it's a fake news there. What do you think about all that? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'm trying to touch on one other story because we'll be running the program up pretty soon in the next 16 minutes. Well. The Speaker of Parliament has been cited for contempt over anti-LGBTQ plus bill. Now, the Supreme Court is being asked to impose sanctions on the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbadwin, for allowing the House to proceed with the anti-LGBTQ plus bill despite pending legal actions. Researcher Dr. Amanda Odoi contends that the Speaker has treated court process with disdain and contempt. The respondent has continually violated and shown utter disregard for the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana and the court process, and that the respondent clear, intentional, and continuous disregard of the court process necessitates the respondent being sanctioned for contempt in the public interest and to protect the dignity of the court. The court document stated Dr. Odoi is one of the two citizens who have sued the Speaker of Parliament and the Attorney General over the anti-LGBTQ plus bill. Now, she contends her checks show that the Speaker has been served with all relevant court processes, including one asking the court to place an injunction on Parliament's consideration of the law. She said, despite this, the Speaker caused the bill to proceed to its second reading in Parliament, that by his conduct in directing or causing Parliament to proceed to second reading of the bill in full knowledge of the pending suit and related interlocutory injunction application, the respondent has disregarded and disrespected the authority of this court. That such disregard interferes with the outcome of the pending litigation, brings the administration of justice into disrepute, and undermines public confidence in the judicial system. She therefore believes in imposition of sanctions will preserve the court's dignity. And what sanctions will be imposed on the Speaker of Parliament? That they shouldn't discuss anything of the sort there. Okay, one other story, a quick one. Well, I've got a couple of stories to bring from Ghana, but let me do that. And Accra High Court has ruled that there is a lack of transparency and elements of criminality in the way and manner Reverend Victor Kusibwate is operating separately as Kwabena Edu Jamfi. In a summary of the court's ruling available to Ghana Web, beside the fact that two separate personalities are proven, it held that the way the two identities were used does not suggest a simple case of two different names, but rather two independent and totally separate identities to conceal applicants' dealings in a manner that was not obvious until investigations and publication of the first respondent. The applicant in this case was Victor Kusibwate, who approached the court to cause the respondent, Member of Parliament for North Tongo Samuel Okudzato Ablakwa, to stop making critical publications about him. The court added, application assertion that the use of two names in the manner he has done is not a crime under our laws is misconceived, as the two identities were used in a pattern of duplicity, depicting a lack of transparency and misconduct orders on criminality. Kusibwate, the secretary and board of trustees, member of the National Cathedral Project, has by the ruling been dealt a second blow in his ongoing court battles with Ablakwa. Okay, it all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'll take you straight because we are pressed with time. Okay, straight on to Russia. Now, Wagner head Prigozhin has rejected offer to join Russia's army. Now, Wagner mercenary group head Yevgeny Prigozhin has rejected an offer to his fighters to serve as a unit in Russia's army, President Vladimir Putin says. Now, he told Kommersant newspaper that many group commanders had backed the plan to be led by a senior Wagner figure during recent talks in Moscow. He said Prigozhin's reply was, the guys do not agree with this decision. The talks were held just days after Wagner aborted mutiny on the 23rd and 24th June that challenged Mr. Putin's authority. Now, under the deal, the the short-lived rebellion, the mercenaries were told they could join the regular Russian army or head to Belarus, a close ally of Russia. Wagner has fought some of the bloodiest battles since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. However, the U.S. military now assesses that the group is no longer participating in any significant capacity in support of combat operation in Ukraine. The comments were made on Thursday by Pentagon spokesman Pat Ryder, who also said that the majority of Wagner fighters were believed to still be in areas of Russian-occupied Ukraine. In his Thursday interview with Commerçant Business Daily, President Putin said the 35 Wagner commanders, including Prigozhin, had been present at the Kremlin meeting on the 29th of June. Mr. Putin said he had offered them several employment options, including continued service under the command of a senior Wagner commander known by his nom de guerre, Sergio Grey Hair. Now, many Wagner fighters were nodding when I was saying this, Mr. Putin said. And Prigozhin, who was sitting in front and didn't see all this, said after listening, "No, the guys do not agree with the decision," the president added. So, what is going to happen there? Does that actually throw a spanner in the web of the Russian war on Ukraine? What do you think? Or is just something that is making some noise out there, but the real McCoy is going on the battlefield? What do you think? Well, in India as well, Chandrayaan-3, India's historic moon mission, has lifted off successfully, and let's celebrate that. And India has launched its third moon mission, aiming to be the first to land near its little explored South Pole. The Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft, with an orbital lander and a rover, lifted off at 14:35 on Friday. That's 09:05 GMT from Sarikota Space Center. The lander is due to reach the moon on the 23rd or 24th of August. If successful, India will be only the fourth country to achieve a soft landing on the moon after the US, the former Soviet Union, and China. Thousands of people watched the launch from the viewers' gallery, and commentators described the sight of the rocket soaring in the sky as majestic. The lift-off was greeted with cheers and loud applause from the crowds and the scientists. Rande Makoji, who was at the launch site, said there were roars of Bharat Mata Ki Jai, victory to Mother India, from every corner of the hall. Okay, so let's see what is happening there. Let's see how it's all going to be panning out there. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, do you like watching movies? Were you at the one of the premieres yesterday in London? Wow. Major films in production, including Avatar, Gladiator sequel, are looking likely to be affected by Hollywood's actors taking strike action. The promotional events such as red carpet premieres will also be affected, such as Disney film Haunted Mansion going to be released later this month. Events including Emmys, Comic Con may be rescheduled or scaled back. In the industry's biggest shutdown for over 60 years, some 160,000 performers stopped work at midnight in Los Angeles. The announcement followed similar strike action from the Writers Guild of America, that's WGA, and brought most U.S. films and TV production to a halt. The Screen Actors Guild wants streaming giants to agree to a fairer split of profits and better work conditions. Now, it's also wants to protect actors from being usurped by digital replicas. Now, the union is seeking guarantees that artificial intelligence, that's AI, and computer-generated faces and voices will not be used to replace actors. Would that happen? Is it going to? Oh, what do you think? Okay. This is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. And it's your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And let's come to the UK front. We're going to be ending pretty soon. And a very sad story there. A man has been accused of murdering two women he knew. Now, a man who has been charged with murdering two women, one of whom went missing and whose body has not been found, Carl Cooper, 65, is accused of killing Naomi Hunt, 41, and Fiona Holm, 48. Mr. Cooper, who knew both women, is due before a Bromley magistrate later. Miss Hunt was found stabbed to death in Congleton Grove in Plumstead, southeast London, in February 2022. Now, Miss Holm has been missing from Heather Green, southeast London, since going to an office license to an off license on the 29th of June. Now, Mr. Cooper, Bradfield Road in Heather Green, was arrested on suspicion of Miss Hunter's murder in February 2022 and subsequently bailed and then released under investigation. Both women families have been updated, and the police watchdog has been informed. Police have said it confirmed that Miss Holmes' case was initially treated as a missing person. Investigations have said that. It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. A couple of stories, and then I bring the program to a close. Don't you go away. Now, renters are being stretched most by cost of living pressure. Now, renters are likely to be the most stretched by housing and food bills as the cost of living continues to rise, according to an official survey. Now, some 43% of tenants said they were finding it difficult to afford the rent between February and May. The Office for National Statistics said that compares with 28% of mortgage holders struggling with repayment. The survey suggested that 1 in 20 adults had run out of food in previous 2 weeks. The proportion increases to more than a quarter among single parents. And certain groups of people were hit harder by the rising cost of living, the ONS has said. And because they said, we can see that renters were among those currently more likely to be experiencing financial vulnerability, said David Ainsley from the ONS. Our findings also show that lone parents, disabled adults, and Black African Caribbean or Black British adults among groups more likely to be finding their rent, mortgage, and food costs difficult. What has caused that? What has caused that? Is it job opportunities or what exactly? But I wouldn't have the time to go into all that. But hopefully we'll bring that your way sometime next week. But before I land or bring the program to a close, now Gatwick Airport to be hit by strikes over summer holidays. Now nearly 1,000 workers are set to take 8 days of strike action at Gatwick Airport over the summer holidays in a row over pay. The Unite Union has said the strike could cause some disruption during what could be the busiest summer period since the pandemic. The workers at 4 firms, including baggage handlers and ground staff, will strike from Friday the 28th of July to Thursday the 1st of August, and then again from Friday the 4th of August to Tuesday the 8th of August. Airlines will be affected, and that will be affected include British Airways, EasyJet, Ryanair, TUI, WestJet, and Waste. The union has said the impact of the action is uncertain, although Unite said disruption, delays, and cancellations were inevitable. Well. So if you have listened to me this morning, this has been Starr Radio UK, and this is why I bring the program to a close. As I did say, a money man cannot make it today, but let me bring you this song from Wita. From a free year. Yes, Wita free year, and it says "Country Hot." Which country is not hot now on this planet? Every one of them. Those who are suffering from heat wave, those who are suffering from heat, from financial difficulties that is going on, high cost of living, and name it, whatever it is. But enjoy it, and I see you all on Monday. Until then, it's been me, Archie, saying bye bye for now.
Hungry man say fix the country, belleful say fix yourself.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
This is Starr Radio UK. Starr Radio UK.
Country hot, Charlie.
Thanks for listening.
Everybody feel the heat, even the king they feel the heat. So we are the pray for change. We say fix the country.
You say fix yourself.
Aye. Fix the country.
We say fix yourself.
Hey,
Tell me who be the country?
Tell me
you be the country. Fix yourself.
We say fix the country.
You say fix yourself.
Aye. Fix the country.
We say fix yourself.
Hey,
Tell me who be the country?
Tell me you be the country.
Fix yourself.
Who watch out plenty, the movie fest. Who watch out plenty, the movie fest. You will get to go, plenty go, but we still they borrow they go. To get a job, baby, who you know. We live like cops in a barrel. Shy on, Babeshi and low. Hey, we say fix the country.
You say fix yourself.
Aye. Fix the country.
We say fix yourself.
Hey,
Tell me who be the country?
Now you be the country.